Ladies and gentlemen, the Toronto Maple Leafs just cannot stop giving us content. Clarkey's club just cannot stay out of the limelight. Lots to talk about, okay? In hockey, not only is there Leaf content with the firing of Craig Berube, and Clarkey's devastated to see him go. We're going to talk about that. The playoffs roll on. Remember, there's still teams that are actually playing hockey. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We got to talk about some baseball. And when we jump around and we want to talk about a bunch of different sports, there's a guy we like to turn to. And hey, if you want to talk movies, we should just do a sports movie episode someday. And we'll be doing it with this guy when we do it. But when we jump around, we need somebody who has expertise in baseball. We need a guy who's got expertise in hockey. Prime Monday Night Hockey. Hello. MLB Network. He's also done.
He's on everywhere. Stuff. Just say everywhere.
He's everywhere. This guy's everywhere. You know it. I know it. We are very pleased to welcome back our friend and yours, Mr. Adnan Virk. Adnan, how you doing, brother?
Best intros in the business. I'll tell you what, Drury, Clarkey, great to see you guys both. I mean, that's the key. You got to make the guests feel welcome. You guys definitely do that every single time. High energy. Thrilled to be here. I appreciate you guys.
I remember last show, you and Drury started talking about movies, and I just sort of sat back.
You were a disaster.
As I said, I was a disaster.
I haven't seen a movie since like The Sound of Music. It was,
and I haven't seen a movie since our show. However, I want you to know I've done a little homework.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Wow.
So I would like to start the questioning, and you're gonna notice a theme of my questions tonight.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Adnan, Craig Berube gone out of the Leafs. If the firing was a movie, would it be more Moneyball, cold analytics, long-term vision, or like The Godfather, where someone wakes up and realizes the family already made the decision for them?
I love it. That's a fantastic question. Movie reference is fantastic for both. The correct answer for everything, the correct answer for everything in life is The Godfather. But the correct answer here for the Leafs is Moneyball, because you're right. Okay. It's analytics driven. As you'll get commonly used to this phrase when it comes to John Chaik and anybody who loves analytics, it's underlying metrics. So they're going to say the underlying metrics felt that Craig Berube was not going to be the head coach moving forward. I love Chief, obviously one of the game's great tough guys, second ever in majors, 8th in penalty minutes, always engaging with the media, was always good with a quip, especially if Paul Bissonnette was with us. He was always in a good chemistry with Biz and would crack jokes with us. But undeniable the fact the Leafs underachieved this season. Someone's going to pay the piper. I just thought, honestly, fellas, he was so expensive, they might keep him a little longer. I mean, 2 years at $9 million, that's quite a significant bill to eat. Plus, Brad Treliving, I think, was making $3 million a year. So $12 million of dead money. It's just gone. Just, what a life. Just don't work. Okay, great. I'll take the money and go. But yeah, it feels like Moneyball, of course, the great Brad Pitt movie in which Billy Beane focused on his analytics. And now we're seeing the Maple Leafs. So I think they're going to go cheaper. I know there's rumors about Peter Laviolette. I love Lavi. Great with the 2010 Flyers, of course, won the Cup, 06 Canes. But I feel like Clarkey, because they've got so much, again, dead money, I feel like they go younger coach, more unproven. Whoever the Chris Knobloch is of this era, find that guy for the Leafs. That's my guess.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that specifically, and I will say, because I'm a big Moneyball buff, that this isn't a true Moneyball mirror-to-mirror comparison, because let's remember, the A's did not fire Art Howe.
Correct.
Nor should they have, okay?
It's not about that. It was just more about the analytics. It wasn't about the firing, Drury.
The question was fantastic. You framed it well. You did some homework. You watched a movie for the first time.
No, I didn't say I watched the movie.
He didn't see the movie, but he thought about it. He goes, what's a good movie metaphor? Exactly. And that was pretty good. Clark, yeah.
There's more coming,
Clarkey watched the trailer at work because he's so busy. He watched the trailer. I love that. Who doesn't love Brad Pitt? I wanted to ask you about that, Adnan. Like, that's the topic du jour now, as if there weren't already 14 topic du jours in Leafland right now with everything that's gone on. Who do you feel like would be a good fit for the Leafs in terms of their next coach? Because, yes, there's lots of veteran options out there, like a Peter Laviolette, like a Patrick Waugh, guys like that. There's also young guys that are lower down in the hockey world, in the AHL, that have done great things. There's guys in the OHL. I mean, if you pay attention, a guy like UC Ahokas, who just won the OHL championship with the Rangers, he's been long talked about as the future NHL prospect in terms of coaching. Lots of people are talking about David Carl with the University of Denver, 2 straight World Junior gold medals with the United States. Who would you think fits best in this new look philosophy of the Leafs going forward?
So there's 2 that I definitely point to, and you mentioned both of them. To be honest with you, Ryan, The one is Laviolette, because I do think he's always been a player's coach, and I do think he's very offensive-minded. And I think right now the biggest question facing the Maple Leafs is how to keep Auston Matthews happy. And he's clearly going to talk to John Chaika and Matt Sundin and go, all right, I got 2 more years left. Explain to me why I should still be here. Otherwise, why should we not start exploring trade options? And I think that it's not that Matthews is holding a gun to his head. He just knows the value he holds, the importance he holds to this franchise, all-time goals leader, et cetera. So it's like, hey, how are we going to make this palatable for both sides? I think Laviolette comes in there, and he's always been an offensive-minded coach, and I do think he's player-friendly. So I think if there's a way that you can get a veteran guy who Auston will feel like, okay, he's had success, and I can ask around and do our due diligence on Lavi, make sure we're on the same page, he'll give me and William Nylander that rope we can use. Now, the other name I will say is when you mentioned it, is David Carl. Just had him on our podcast, NHL Unscripted, Virk and Demers. And David Carl, to me, has had that really run of success with Denver that is pretty impressive. And, again, it's not that you can't have a guy from the OHL or WHL or the Q, whatever it might be, but I do think Carl's built something pretty special there with Denver. The fact that they've won back-to-back titles, like I don't think of Denver necessarily as a powerhouse in hockey, but they've become that. I would think of a Minnesota, I think of Michigan, I think of schools like that, somewhere in, one of the schools in New England, BU, BC, et cetera. So what he's built in Denver has been unique, and I think that, you've seen that in baseball. Tony Vitello is now the manager of the Giants. Of course, he was managing in college at Tennessee. That sometimes people like those out-of-the-box hires and see what Carl can do to translate. I think no matter what, fellas, this is the most important thing. Whoever the coach is going to be, I think it's going to be that in-between coach. It's going to be the coach that will get them up to speed, and then they'll go out and get another coach anyway. So that's why I don't think it's going to be Laviolette. I think it's a Carl. It's somebody else younger. Like, all right, give him 2 or 3 years, get this team back into shape, so to speak, and then when we really think it's time to contend, we'll go get the other guy.
So if you were casting the next Leaf head coach in a movie, are they looking more for Remember the Titans motivator or Jerry Maguire players coach who can finally connect with the core?
This is outstanding work by Clarkey.
Thank you.
I know one of the gate was good, but this is really good.
Lord.
Yeah. I think it's the latter. I think it's a Jerry Maguire. I think it's the guy, communicate with the young guys, right? Like we're the Tom Cruises in the room with the flowing hair and a little eccentric, a little weird, a little desperate. But we got Cuba Gooding Jr. here. Mike, this guy's a stud. This guy's a star. Rod Tidwell, probably based on Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, you name it. Loud, proud, wide receiver. Like, hey, motivate this guy. Connect with the youth. That's what you want. That's why I say to myself, and I mentioned Knobloch only because he's now been jettisoned, but the Chris Knobloch type, like who's a guy who's not particularly well known, but Connor McDavid likes him. Like that was the first thing about Chris Knobloch. Like, who's this guy? I'm like, oh, McDavid likes him. Okay, well, he's going to connect with the star. I'm like, yeah, keep your stars happy. It feels so simple to say, and I think that's critical here in Toronto. So whoever the hiring is going to be, I would think Auston Matthews has input, and it's not that he gets a blank slate, but I think that he has to. Of course, Matt Sundin would call him and say, what do you think of this guy? You like him? You don't like him? You want to talk to him? Whatever. Like, of course. Why would you not engage your stars? At any major company, a Fortune 500 company, you would ask your top employee, hey, what do you think about this? You good with this? You all right with this? Like, anybody who doesn't think stars don't have special powers isn't paying attention. That's where they're the stars. Of course they get special attention. Bobby Cox just passed away in baseball. We had John Smoltz on MLB Network, and Smoltz was telling me, he said, in spring training, new position players would come in, they'd get so annoyed because Bobby Cox told Smoltz and Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux, you guys come in at 8, get your work done, out the door by 11, go golf. And the new position players would come in and kind of start barking. Bobby Cox would say, hey, guys, get over it. Like, because of those guys, we're going to be good this year. Like, I don't worry about the stars. They'll take care of themselves. They'll be great. So make sure Matthews and Nylander are fed. Take care of the dogs. And that coach will have to connect with them, period.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And to stick with Clarkey's Jerry Maguire theme here, would it be safe to say then that they need to find Auston Matthews an ambassador of Quan? They need to find his ambassador of Quan. Okay. I'm a big Jerry Maguire fan. Clarkey's never seen it. Yeah. I need to know, have you actually never seen it, Clarkey? Come on now. You've seen Jerry Maguire.
Of course I've seen it. Come on.
Yeah.
Of course.
How could you go with Bob Sugar? I digress. Now,
that's a good poll by Ryan. That's a good poll.
It's one of the best.
I saw it.
Of all time,
I think I was still going to Ryerson. Yeah, Ryerson was 96. So I was when I was in college, so I saw it at the Eaton Center. Great movie. I mean, I wasn't sure what to expect, but like it's genuinely funny and romantic. And you had me at hello. Great.
And one of the best uses of a Tom Petty song in any film ever, which I'm always a big fan of. Nice. And speaking of rocking and rolling like Tom Petty, they got to find a way to get Auston Matthews rocking and rolling again. He said his 2 worst offensive seasons under Craig Berube. Mind you, a lot of injuries played in with that. But I saw a stat that he played 47% of his starts this year at faceoffs against other teams' elite lineups. And generally, you see guys like McDavid, Crosby, guys like that down around 40, 41%. A lot of people have, criticized Craig for his use of Auston Matthews. But then on the other side, Auston Matthews is getting paid $13.25 million to be a stud. How do they find a happy medium with this guy to get him to A, stay, and B, become the Auston Matthews we all think is still in there, Adnan?
Excellent reiterating, Ryan, of the $13.25 million. Like, you forget that. Like, you're like, I know he's the highest pick. You normally think, it's 8, 9, 10. Like, $13.25. Like, buddy, you got to generate some more offense by yourself. And you think of, like, great star players, and I'm not expecting you to play a 200-foot game unless it's the playoffs. It's a really important shift. Like, I'm expecting you to score and produce, and that is the key, whether it's on the power play or at 5-on-5. And as you said, injuries can be a part of it. The fact you're with a bad team, the malaise of the season, there's lots of reasons for it. But ultimately, excuses become tiresome. And Auston Matthews has not produced, as you said, the last couple of seasons. I'd accept it for 1 year. Everyone's allowed an aberration. Everyone's allowed an offseason. And maybe he's not going to be a 60-goal scorer again. But I need 40, 45, hopefully 50 for that kind of a price tag. So I think whoever the coach is, the way that they're going to sell themselves to John Chaika and Matt Sandina is go, not only am I going to get the best of Auston Matthews, but I'm going to get a motivated Auston Matthews. And he's going to have so much fun playing for me, and he'll reinvigorate himself of why he loves playing hockey in Toronto, a city like no other, that he's going to want to sign long-term. If you get a coach that can sell you on that, I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, that will sell you a vision of the future that will not only sell tickets but keep this team here. Because I got to be honest, guys, the number of people have said, well, find out where Austin head's at, and if not, trade him. I'm like, what? You don't find these guys everywhere. And I get the fact he's coming off a couple of down seasons. And I get the fact maybe the goals and the aspirations for him are higher than we thought. But he's still number 1 overall pick. He's still a certified goal scorer. There's still 20 other teams that would take this guy tomorrow. And why would I ever want to sell low? Like, this is not the time to trade Auston Matthews. This is the time to bring him back to the fold, make sure he's happy, healthy, and energized, and go out there and produce. And if he puts up a monster season, that means the Leafs are back in the playoffs and good things will happen. If he struggles again, well, then guess what? You still have 1 year left where you flip him. And yes, the value would go down with only 1 year left rather than 2 years left. But to me, it's premature to trade a guy of that talent. It just is. Like, you're not going to find these guys. Keep them at all costs until you realize it's no longer tenable.
So the guy who would trade Auston Matthews would be John Chaika. So I want to ask you this, okay? From a fan's perspective, do you think the fans look at Chaika as the Leafs front office trying to become the hockey version of Ocean's 11, where the smartest guy in the room is trying to pull off a calculated heist? Or are the fans more worried that this could become The Hangover?
Oh, my God. God, Clarkey's on fire right now. Well, let's hope Ken Jeong doesn't pop out of a
Why am I even
trunk
here?
Naked. That's the key. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why.
Ocean's 11, one of my favorite movies too, by the way.
But unbelievable cast. Whether it's the Sinatra version or the George Clooney version, and of course,
I haven't figured out a way to work a Footloose question in, but let me work on it.
It's coming at some point. Listen, I think it's going to be like Ocean's 11 here. I think it's going to be Chaika's going to try to pull off a heist, and I think it's so fascinating that they got the number 1 pick. Like, whether you love the Leafs or hate them, to me, I'm like, it's just so perfect. I'm like, this is so great. Because I go, it wouldn't have been exciting if Vancouver got him. If Vancouver got him, you go, all right, they're going to get McKenna, and Stemmer probably goes to, although the Sharks need a defense, so maybe they don't pick him. Maybe they pick one of those defensemen overseas. Maybe it's Malhotra, whatever. But I'm like, Toronto getting 1, I'm like, this is so great. Because I'm like, I'm not convinced they're just going to select McKenna. Like, I think they'll explore every option. I could see Chaika going, you know what? Let's flip the number 3 and the 1, and Vancouver can take McKenna, and I'm going to take one of these defensemen. I'll figure it out another way. Like, here's the thing about Chaika is that the perception, at least, in that beautifully worded question by the great Steve Simmons, con man, liar. Like, essentially what he's saying is that this guy's so arrogant, he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. And he's sold himself to Keith Pelley, and, of course, he's close friends with Ty Domi and all the rest of it. By the way, I have to tell Steve Simmons aside. The last time I saw Steve was that Prime Monday Night Hockey game, our final game, which was April 13th, Leafs Stars. And he just popped his head and was talking to all of us. You know, and Steve's always been friendly to me, always a good laugh, and I always enjoyed my time with him. I said to him, you still come around? He said, yeah, I always come to the first game and the last game. And I said, is that so like anybody who was upset with what you said can take you to task? And he laughed. He goes, well, that used to be the issue, but now nobody reads the papers anymore, so it's fine. Now you know, they're on TikTok doing what they're doing, social media, et cetera. He goes, but I just still show up. And I said, well, give me an example of an athlete who was the most upset with you, with something you wrote. And he said, Leafs? I said, yeah. And he goes, Ty Domi. He said, I once wrote in a column, if you scrambled the letters of Ty Domi, you would get me idiot.
Oh, no.
So he said the next Leafs practice I went to, like when I walked in, Darcy Tucker like yelled at, like he's here, like as soon as I walked in. And then Ty Domi motioned me over. And he goes, we ended up having a wonderful conversation. He explained the etymology of his name, Albanian ancestry, why he's named Ty Domi. So he goes, and Steve goes, I didn't kowtow. I was kind of like, here's my job. Like, my job is to entertain. My job is to inform. My job is to be a clever wordplay, et cetera. So he goes, ended up being a great relationship. But I wasn't shocked. Like, after just with that story ringing in my ears April 13th, when I saw the Chaika presser and Steve bringing up that stuff, I go, one thing about Steve Simmons is, like, he doesn't care. Like, his job is to get the answers people want. And I get it. If you didn't like his delivery of the question and specifically saying con man lawyer, et cetera, he did ask the question, which Leafs fans were thinking. And that's important, like, especially when Keith Pelly kind of gave the, I guess we talked to different people. And then Steve goes, that's it? And I thought his follow-up was important. As you guys know, the best questions are the follow-ups. He goes, like, the hockey world is astounded at this hire. Like, astounded is a great word. Like, you're just, like, perplexed, like, flabbergasted. Like, really? John Chaika, that's your guy? Like, you got to give the audience some reason behind that. And Keith Pelly didn't. Now, we had Elliot Friedman on, NHL Network. And Friedge, of course, former Score alumni, he said to me, he goes, Adnan, I've been around corporate, he goes, whether like it or not, I've been around corporate people for a long time. And their general MO is, don't put any logs in the fire. Just don't respond. Like, just, okay, that's your opinion. And I'm like, yeah, but I think humor could be a great way to diffuse it. I think if Pelly had said, give me the names and numbers of those 19 people. I'll call them. We'll straighten it out. I'll tell him why he's the right guy for the job. Or I've made plenty of mistakes before, Steve. I guess it's one more coming. Like, just say something. Disarming something. He goes, no, but Elliot goes, that's not the playbook these guys write. These guys just, okay, thanks for the input. Moving on. Like, nothing. It's like the scene of Naked Gun. There's like fireworks behind him. There's a fire. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Nothing going on. Like, that's what these guys do. So I think that Chaika, at least by perception, is the smartest guy in the room, at least in his own mind. And I'm just fascinated to see what happens with regards to A, the draft, and B, if he potentially trades Auston Matthews. I mean, we have some guys, Nate Thompson, NHL Network, goes, I think he's going to L.A. And I said, who are they trading? He goes, Quentin Byfield. And I almost fell over. I said, with respect to Quentin Byfield. And I did that draft when NHL Network, drafted second overall. Lafreniere went first. Quentin, like, if I was a Maple Leafs fan, like, I'd throw my head through a wall. I'm like, we're getting Quentin Byfield and what? A couple of picks? Like, that's not nearly good enough for Auston Matthews. Auston Matthews is a generational player, a franchise player, a cornerstone goal scorer. You got to do better than Quentin Byfield in a couple of picks.
100% agree. And, as you mentioned, that's a great Naked Gun pull, too, from the film man himself. I'll say this. Let me reference a Lonely Island video from back in the day.
Yes.
As you know, Adnan, cool guys don't look at explosions.
Yes.
And we're hoping that Chaika's not standing in front of an explosion. And I'll ask you another movie-related question. Let me jump on Clarkey's bandwagon here.
I don't know if that's allowed, buddy.
I love Christopher Nolan. He's got a great new movie coming out, The Odyssey. I can't wait to see that. Let me reference one of his most famous films, though. If Auston Matthews did leave, forced his way out of town, whatever, do you think that people will look back on him as the Dark Knight, a hero we didn't need but deserved, Okay? Or will they look back on him as the Joker? Because I genuinely think that if he leaves and goes, because he has all the power out, he's got the no move clause. He dictates, hey, you're trading me to New York, you're trading me to LA, whatever it is. I genuinely think that Leaf fans would look back on him with a serious amount of disdain that he, quote unquote, abandoned them when things got hard. And he's at the center of it. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think he'd be viewed as the Joker. He'd be the villain. By the way, one of the great memes, the whole Steve Simmons saga, was that someone said if you live long enough, you go from being a villain to a hero. And it's like a picture of Steve like from 30 years ago. And now a picture of the Toronto Sun. I'm so dying and laughing so hard. But I'm with you 100%, Ryan. Like, in talking to our friend Mark Askin and Andy Petrillo and all those that know and love the Leafs and follow them day in, day out, it's like it's turned on Austin, right? Like, it went from a real love fest. This guy's one of the best goal scorers in the world to now it's like, dude, 2 years now, I'm not producing enough. Like, let's go, Austin. You can play for Team USA and win a gold medal. We want to see that Auston Matthews playing for the Maple Leafs. So, yeah, I think his star has dimmed a little bit. The luster has gone off of it a little bit. And, yes, if he forced his way to 10, he would be absolutely vilified. Look at Gretzky, It was not his decision to leave. Peter Pocklington said, I have to trade you. I need money. Like, this is the stupidest thing ever. The greatest player ever. I'm like, well, I'm broke, so I need money, so I got to get rid of you. It's like he didn't want to go. And yet, like, as a 10-year-old, I was so stupid. I thought, yeah, it's right. It's Janet's fault. Yeah, that pretty American. Like, it's her fault. She wants to go to L.A. and make movies. I'm like, no, that's not why. It's because the owner was an idiot, and he was broke. And he's like, well, I'll just send him in L.A., and we'll get $15 million and Jimmy Carson and some picks, and we'll figure it out. In this instance, fans are smart. They know the way this goes. If Auston Matthews stays and sees this team not rebuild, retool, I know what the Bruins did, right? Take a step back and then take 2 steps forward. Okay, get back in the playoffs, figure it out. People are like, yeah, we'll love him forever. But if he says, nah, I'm out, I just don't want to go through with this, and he's still in the prime of his career, he will be absolutely vilified. He would be crucified, I think, by fans, burned in effigy. People would be furious. And quite frankly, the word that would come up would be coward. People say, this guy's a coward. He wasn't able to deliver the Leafs a championship, didn't get close, never got to a conference finals like the great Doug Gilmour and so many other Leafs that they love from 93, and then he forced his way to town. See ya.
So what movie would it most likely feel like? The Departed, where nobody saw the betrayal coming?
Yeah.
Or Avengers Endgame, where the fans realize it's the end of the era?
I think Avengers Endgame. Again, Clarkey on fire. I think Avengers, you know what? We've seen where this is going with these superhero movies. They become oversaturated. The Leafs did a great run. Again, you forget, 9 straight years of making the playoffs. Like, it was an unbelievable run. The misfortune and the challenge of having to face teams like the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm not making excuses. I'm just pointing out those were formidable teams and great opposition, and generally they could not overcome them. Hey, you win the Battle of Ontario, beat the Senators in the playoffs last year. Congratulations. But again, never made a deep, sustained playoff run. So it'd feel like a bit like the Avengers Endgame. For all their superhero powers, this was a Leafs team that came up short. They are not quite Iron Man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I genuinely hope he stays because he's been such a talismanic figure. And when he is rocking, that building's rocking, the fan base is rocking, that 69-goal year, like it was something that Leaf fans could only dream of until he showed up. It would be really unfortunate to see him bail. And we're not saying he will. Just if that happened, it would be sad to see, I think. One guy that never bails is Nate McKinnon. And as the playoffs roll on here, Colorado has punched their ticket. Carolina has punched their ticket. Over in the East, we await the results of Vegas, Anaheim, and of course, Buffalo, Montreal, which has been a standout series in the playoffs. Amazing watching Buffalo, Montreal. What a bloodbath. Yeah. When you look at the Avalanche, and you think about Nate McKinnon and the way that this team's rocking and rolling, Gabe Landeskog back in the fold, Makar at the height of his powers. Can anybody stop these guys? Do you see anybody that's left that can get in these guys' way, Adnan? Because I don't know if I do.
I don't think so either, Ryan. And it's funny. The first round is always spectacular because we'll get some genuine upsets, and the quality of hockey is so strong because it gets elevated immediately. The second round, to me, ends up dipping a little bit, and then conference finals are hit and miss, and hopefully you hope you get a great Stanley Cup final, as you did a couple years ago, 7 games, Oilers, Panthers. Even last year, 6 games was pretty good. So this year, I go, all right, first one was pretty good. Again, a couple surprises along the way. But now, sort of the emotion and the excitement's kind of getting sucked out of it because you go, man, Carolina sweep over Philly. Love the fact the Flyers took a couple games to overtime, but Carolina clearly the better team. Boys versus men. I mean, 8 straight games to open the playoffs is something we haven't seen in 30 years. But Colorado is a wagon. I mean, I remember being at that game March 16th when they lost the Penguins 7-2. And I said, wow, this is the closest Dallas has now become. Imagine if Dallas gets top spot, Colorado gets upset in 7 against the Wild. Like, oh, my God, how could things fall off the wagon? And then you would come back a couple weeks later, they scored like 9 goals in the next game we saw them. And I'm like, this is the Colorado team we expect. They're just phenomenal talent up and down the lineup. So I don't see anybody being Colorado, even if it's Carolina, as good as they played. You know, with respect to the opposition, there's no one quite like Colorado. And what impresses me the most, fellas, it's kind of like a basketball team. They can play any style you want. Like, if you want to play fast break, we'll play fast break. You want to play grind it down, half-court defense, we'll do that too. Like, look at that series, what they did against the Wild. That first game, like, so ridiculously high scoring, 9-6. But then the next game was like 5-2. Like 14 goals you're scoring in the first 2 games is virtually unheard of in today's NHL. And even if you had any supposed concerns about their goaltending, the fact that Wedgwood looked more than you put in Blackwood, no problem. Wedgwood will come right back, 7 saves in Game 5 to win that one. And it's almost like it was like a starting pitcher who at some point is going to need a breather. They're like, you know what, let's just give Wedgwood a break because he can't play every single game of the playoffs. All year they've been platooning, so it's unreasonable to expect him to go the whole way. It's fine. We'll put Mackenzie Blackwood in for a blow. We'll figure this out. All good. Like the fact they beat the Wild in 5, and I know that last game went to overtime, but Minnesota gagged in a 3-0 lead. Again, Colorado is a great front runner. They're a great team from coming from behind. They're terrific on home, terrific on the road. What's been the only Achilles heel? Their power play. And even then, my whole thought was like, yeah, but there's less penalties called in the playoffs. Now, you might argue if you get 3 power plays in the regular season and only 2 in the playoffs, you've got to score on that 1 or 2. It's of vital importance. But I go the other way. I go, you know what? When you're that good at 5-on-5, who cares what's happening with the power play as long as your penalty kill is good? So Colorado looks incredible to me. And again, one of my favorite players, the great Nazem Kadri. The fact that Naz is a third-line center, like that just shows their depth of the middle is what impresses me the most. The fact that you have McKinnon, Brock Nelson, and Naz as your top 3. And other guys can play center, by the way. Other guys can take draws. That's the most impressive part of it to me. And, of course, Makar and all the rest of it. They're a ton of fun to watch. And really well coached, of course, by Jared Bednar.
And you got Minnesota and Dallas, couple of front runners all year, eliminated from the playoffs, round 2. Is the NHL playoff format starting to feel a little bit like the Hunger Games where elite teams are limited way too early?
100%, Clarkey. I don't know who the Jennifer Lawrence here is in this conversation. Maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's Marco
not me.
Rossi. Yeah, it's not me. Yeah, maybe it's Clarkey. But yes, absolutely. I mean, I never liked the fact at one point you said 3 of the top 6 teams in the NHL are in one division. Like that's brutal. Like that should have been a conference final. Colorado versus Minnesota. Now maybe you say, well, it was ended up being a dud because Minnesota ran out of juice. But back to Ryan's original point, do you see any team slowing down? Like it would be. If you told me, and I agree, by the way, Ryan, Buffalo-Montreal has been the best series. I can't wait to watch it tonight. Like, it's been awesome. Like, that environment, the Bell Center, I tell people all the time, I'm proudly from Ontario, but I'm like, dude, you go to a game in Montreal, there's nothing like it. That playoff atmosphere at Centre Bell is unreal. And the fact that Buffalo wins that game 4 on that fluky goal, Dobber's played great. I mean, that happens sometimes. Buffalo's right back in. It's a best of 3, and, of course, their arena is no slouch themselves. But if I said to you guys, Buffalo or Montreal beats Carolina, you go, I wouldn't expect it, but sure, like it could happen. Like, again, Carolina hasn't been tested yet. Freddie Anderson has flopped in the past. He's been sensational so far. It might win the Conn Smythe so far, but yeah. If you said to me, is there a universe in which Cole Caulfield and Suzuki played out of their minds and Lane Hudson stepped up and Buffalo was awesome and Tage Thompson did this and Benson did that? I'm like, yeah, sure. But if I said to you guys, is there a world in which the Ducks or the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Avalanche? You go, there's no way. Like, it would be an upset of epic proportions. I cannot in any way fathom Colorado being tested. So they cakewalk through the Western Conference Final, and then all of a sudden that's going to be one of those Eastern Conference teams. I think Carolina is the best test, and I think Colorado wins in 5 or 6, but I can't imagine a team even slowing them down, whether it's the Ducks or Vegas.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want to ask you one thing before we let you go, Adnan, and what's been a very entertaining, mostly driven by Clarkey episode.
No.
I want to ask you, Adnan, I've seen you recently on a couple of other podcasts and, you know, the great work you do on MLB Network. I've seen you talking a lot, as many people are, about Vladdy Jr. and what this cat's up to right now. I mean, you talk about killers. We thought that that's what this guy had transformed into in the playoffs last year, and he did. I would argue it was the greatest individual playoff run by a Toronto athlete ever, and they came up short. And if they had won that World Series, which they came within a toenail of, people wouldn't even care right now. They wouldn't even be talking about this. Like, slow start, but hey, we won the World Series. But they didn't win the World Series. And now they got a guy who's making 500 sheets, who's on pace for 8 homers, Adnan. What is wrong with this guy? Because this can't happen.
No, it's I appreciate the passion, Ryan. You're right, and I appreciate you following my social media because it is a hot topic right now. Last year, he got off to a slow start. Vladdy Jr. had 4 homers through his first 42 games, ended up with 23. Now, this pace, as you pointed out, is worse than that, and we can't imagine a world in which a guy making $500 million gets 8 home runs. To me, this is the key. Like, obviously, home runs are important, but at the very least, hit the ball with power and get extra base hits. He doesn't have an extra base hit in 8 straight games. That is alarming. And he's at the point now in which his on-base percentage is higher than his slugging percentage. His on-base percentage is 381, which is fantastic. 371 slugging is atrocious. And he was hitting 340 as of a month ago. He's now down to 288. So this is now a prolonged slump for Vlad. And I was talking to no less authority than Albert Pujols, who is a friend and colleague from MLB Network, of course, one of the all-time great home runners of all time, over 700 home runs, 3-time MVP. And Albert said to me, Albert managed Vlad for the Dominican Republic, the World Baseball Classic. And he goes, he's a line drive hitter who hits to all fields, period. You got to stop thinking of him as a 40 home run guy. And I said, can he be that guy? He goes, he can, but I don't think he is. And he said, I've talked to him about it. Vlad's called me. Like, he's well aware of the fact everyone in Toronto's like, bro, start hitting some home runs. Let's work on that launch angle. So clearly Vlad knows what's up. And Albert told him, don't change a thing. He's like, just be a great hitter, and then the home runs will come. He goes, like, you talk to great hitters like Albert, those other guys, they didn't worry about the 40 home runs. Like, we'll get those. Like, that'll happen. I want to hit and be consistent and hit 320, et cetera. So he goes, stop thinking of Vlad as a home run hitter. I'm like, okay. Like, if he can hit 330 and hit 23 home runs, then yeah, that's a tremendous player. But right now he's 280 and 8 home runs, which would be a real problem. And it's emblematic of the fact this Jays offense has a ton of lack of slug. Their best slugger is Kaz Okamoto, who's a Japanese player in his rookie season. That can't be the guy who's leading your team in terms of power. It just can't happen. So Varsho had the big grand slam against the Rays. Need more of that. George Springer's now back. Has to hit better than 200. Alejandro Kirk's back in a couple weeks. Barger hopefully back soon. He was back for a cup of coffee. He got hurt again. These other guys got to step up and start hitting some home runs and hit the ball with authority. Otherwise, the Jays are going to be in real trouble. The good news is this. The American League is pretty bad. Aside from the Yankees and the Rays, there's no great team. So if Toronto strings together a 5 or 6 game winning streak, they're right back in the wild card mix. And I do like their starting pitching. Cease as good as advertised. Guy's been tremendous. Gossman's a legit ace. Savage is back. That's a wonderful 1-2-3. But to Ryan's point, I can't imagine the Jays having any modicum of success without Vlad Jr. playing demonstrably better.
So you kind of answered my next question here, but with all the injuries, the way things are going offensively, is it a mission impossible here? Or you think they have? It sounds like you think they have a chance.
I do, and I look back at last season. The Tigers were the best team in the American League for much of the year, and they gagged on a 15.5 game lead. Like, I'm still astonished that actually happened in my lifetime.
Historic,
right? 15.5 games is tough to do. I would go back to like the '78 Yankees and Red Sox. That was a 14 game lead. Bucky, Bleep, and Dent, all the rest of it. So the fact that it happened means a team is never truly out of it. Now, I will say, I think the Yankees and Rays are the two best teams in the American League. So I'll say this. If the Jays are more than 10 games back as of, let's say, Canada Day, then I don't think they're winning the division. But I think at that point, you focus on the wild card. I don't see the Yankees or the Rays gagging in a 10-game lead. But stranger things have happened. And for Toronto, the key to me is just get back to 500. Again, if there's a motto for this team, hold the fort. Just don't play terrible. Start winning some series. Win 2 out of 3 and go from there. That Varsho home run was massive. Buck Showalter, 4-time manager of the year, told me, every year you're going to win 50 games. Every year you're going to lose 50 games. It's the other 62 games that determine your season. And Tim Kirchin told me at ESPN, every year there's a circle game. 5 or 6 games in your season that really kind of determine your year. Hopefully that was a circle game for the Blue Jays in a positive sense. That kind of game propelled them moving forward. So, again, there's no great teams. They're capable of being better. They haven't played to their potential. They have been hurt by injuries. Jays, at the very least, a wild card team.
I certainly hope so. I did see a stat that for the rest of the year, they got to go 72-40 to hit 90 wins. I mean, it's just incredible. That's a tall task, but if Vlad gets hot, because like, I guess I would just close by saying, to Albert Pujols' point, I love that. It's just why are they paying this guy $500 million? Because great, hit 330 and have a high on base and all that. But what you're describing to me, Adnan, and I love this guy. I'm not disparaging this player. I draft him every year in fantasy baseball for a reason. But what you're describing to me is Luis Arias. And Luis Arias doesn't make $500 million. That's my only gripe with, going, oh, he's not a home run hitter. Yeah. I need a little more gasoline from this guy.
Yeah, though it's well said.
That's all.
Fernando Tatis is one of my favorite players. He's so charismatic and fun to watch. But but I'm astonished. He has 0 home runs. Like, that can't. Fernando Tatis had 42 home runs in 2021. He has yet to hit a home run. That can't happen. Luis Arias is a 3-time batting champion. He doesn't have any power. I get it. Chandler Simpson of the Rays has a ton of speed. Doesn't have a home run. Tatis got to get a home run. Vlad's going to get more than 2 home runs. Like, period. You guys have got to be better than this when you're getting that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right. Well, speaking of money, you deserve more.
He reminded me tonight of Ren from Footloose. You walked in, you brought the energy, you stirred things up, and even the grumpy hockey traditionalist like Ryan Drury started dancing. So there you go.
I mean, I'll leave with a Godfather quote. You guys, as always, made me an offer I could not refuse. So phenomenal work from you both.
I absolutely love it. Adnan, thanks so much for doing this, brother. It's always a pleasure.
I cannot believe the effort that Clarkey put into this. If I see a horse's head in my bed, I'll know who did that. Thanks, boys.
Absolutely. Our buddy Adnan Virk. You can watch him on Prime Monday Night Hockey and, of course, MLB Network and, just about everywhere else. And, of course, Unscripted, that great podcast he does on the NHL with Jason Demers. Always fun. I did a lot of homework today, buddy. I got to tell you, buddy, I think I genuinely mean this. We bust each other's balls on here a lot. I genuinely think this might have been your finest performance ever.
I think so too.
I really do. You went Vlad against the Yankees. You were crushing
against the Yankees.
Ball.
Yeah. Thanks for being specific about that. Yes,
you were
crushing
for
sure. Hey, you know what? And soon I got to put my golf shirt on because it's coming up to some picks for the PGA with Doig. So I got to be on the ball there too because I got the first pick.
You got the first pick from your Masters win. I got to change my shirt, not to a golf shirt because I don't own any, but because I've sweated through this one because we got fired up with Adnan. I was hot and heavy for your movie references. I loved it, buddy. That was unbelievable.
Thank you.
Coming up after this, we're going to talk with our friend Ian Doig of the Ian Doig Golf Academy, longtime pro golfer, and we're going to make our picks for the PGA Championship at a monorink. It's going to be unbelievable. I can't wait to make picks. Do you know who you're going to take first? Do you have
but I'm worried about him. I know, but I'm worried about him.
Oh, I think I know who you might be talking about. I don't know. Yeah. It's going to be an unbelievable tournament, though. Scotty Scheffler, of course, the defending champ. Yes. And we're going to dig into that next year with Doig, who also has some big-time personal news as well. Okay, we're tracking Doig. He got to play over in Australia over the winter, did well over there, had a good time. He's got some big-time personal news that we're going to dig into too. Okay, Doig, you want to talk about Rory and Scotty and all these guys heating up on the course? Our buddy Doig's heating up on the course too. We're going to touch on that next here on Instigating. All right. Wrapping things up here on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury.
First pick.
Yes. This is a theme for you, Clarkey. You're
That's
Mr.
Right.
First Pick Man. We're joined 12. We're joined as always when we make golf picks, when we talk about the game of golf. We are joined by our great friend, longtime professional golfer and instructor. Look, you want to learn how to play golf? This would be the guy to go.
Yes, I do.
You don't just get this guy on for expertise. You can go to this guy and actually learn to play the game for real. Mr. Ian Doig of the Ian Doig Golf Academy. Doig, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, guys. It's nice to be on. Thanks for doing this. And let's talk a little bit of golf and do some picks.
Okay, before we get there, hold on.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on. Doig.
Yeah.
We had a little conversation off air last week.
Mm-hmm.
Number 12 came up.
Yeah.
Tell Ryan about your little thing with number 12. The Leafs got, of course, the first pick when the 12 ball came up.
The 12 ball, yeah.
Listen to this, Ryan.
All right. Listen to this, Ryan. You're going to love this. So growing up in all my hockey career and in my junior hockey career, I wore number 12. And 5 days in a row, as I was getting ready to leave Australia, and I went to the golf course and to play practice rounds or whatever, and I got cart numbers, number 12. I got to Pinehurst, North Carolina a few weeks ago, and 3 days in a row, cart number 12. And then last week when I was in the hospital for a day, I got room number 12. And then as I was sitting there watching the draw, and they said, well, if the Leafs can get number 12, they'll win the pick. And up came number 12. So it was quite a little run for me with the number 12. Oh, and at McDonald's. One day I went in for breakfast at McDonald's, and I was at table number 12.
So, wow.
It was nuts, right? Crazy.
That's hey, if you believe in angel numbers, that's one of them, and that's clearly a good omen for you and Mr. Clark. So how about that, Mr.
There you go.
There you go. First pick himself. All right, gentlemen, a big one coming up here, obviously at Aronimink Golf Course in beautiful Pennsylvania, the PGA Championship. That is what we are doing our picks for. Reminder of the rules: 4-man teams. You need to have at least 2 guys not miss the cut. So you have to have at least 3 of your 4 players make the cut. If you lose 2 of your players, you are out. You count your top 3 cumulative scores. If one of your players,
Ryan,
go ahead.
Ryan, I gotta ask you, did that happen recently?
Yes. I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got a night, which is unfortunate because the other two guys that I did have had amazing tournaments, and I might have
It wasn't unfortunate to Doigie and I.
No.
Oh.
And Clarkey, you won, so you have first overall pick. It'll be
All right.
followed by Doigie and then me in a snake draft as we make our 4 picks. If you if a guy on your team wins the tournament, you get a bonus 3 strokes. Let's do some picks. Mr. Clark, who would you like to select first overall?
We need to also mention we're recording this Wednesday night, this portion of it. So the tournament has not started yet.
Yes, tournament hasn't started. We have integrity.
Thursday, of course.
We're men of integrity here.
That's
okay.
Right. So it hasn't started yet. So the first pick, and if I see him taking his shoes and socks off, I'm going to puke. But I'm going to take Rory Blister McIlroy as my first pick. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
He's gotta have
Boy,
Rory.
Surprise.
By the way, Scotty Scheffler, the defending champ at this tournament.
Ian Doig, number 2.
Wow.
And we know who he's going to pick.
I'm going way off the board on this one, guys. I'm going to take Scotty
What's your
Scheffler.
first pick?
Scotty Scheffler.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yes, Scotty.
Wow.
Okay, that's really good. I like that. I have 2 here, and I'm thrilled these guys are sitting there.
Yep.
I'm going to take one of the hottest golfers on the tour so far this year, and Mr. Cameron Young.
Mm-hmm.
I think that dude, I think he's winning this tournament. I think I just earned the bonus 3 strokes. And I'm also going to take another gentleman who's been playing really good golf. His brother's been playing. His brother's been playing. I know who you're going with.
Talk about shoes, brother. Talk about shoes.
Talk about shoes.
People on this program know I love Matty Skechers. I don't even write Fitzpatrick on my sheet anymore. I just write Skechers. Mr. Doyle.
Oh, you're gonna love it. All right, back to me for 1.
Yes, sir.
He's gonna pick.
I was definitely gonna take Matty Fitzpatrick for sure because he is playing very, very well. But we'll go back to my old standby, and I'm gonna take Ludwig Auberg.
I was about to say, can I make the pick for you? But right down the middle. Hey, Ludwig's a really good. Ludwig is going to win some majors at some point here. The kid's really young. He's going to start racking up wins. I really do believe that. He's a safe pick because he's always in the mix. Mr. Clark,
great.
Give me a 2-pack.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm usually 2 at the bottom of them, not at the top.
Yes, your fortunes are changing lately.
I'm going to take a guy I had in the Masters who performed very well, Xander Schauffele.
Yeah, I like him.
And my next guy, this is where it gets a little bit like
he's taking Patrick Cantlay. That's who he's going to take.
I'm never going to pick Patrick. My hat's too small. Cantlay.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Let's go off the board here.
Off the board. Brooks Koepka.
Well, he is one of my guys who I've picked before.
Brooksy, he's starting to he's healthy. He's getting back in form.
I know.
What are you doing, though?
What am I doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Tommy Fleetwood.
Another guy that you'd love to see him win more, but he's always in the mix.
Just be in the mix, bud.
T10s, T5.
Just be in the mix.
He's always dialed in and in the mix for wins. Mr. Doig, your 3rd pick.
Well, my 3rd pick is not really off the board a little bit. I'm picking him because the last time there was an event held here, he played very, very well. I think he's having a good year, and I'd like to see him win this tournament. I'm going to go with Justin Rose.
Oh, Rosie, dusty old Rosie. Roses are red.
So I don't know why I laughed.
He's why?
I don't know.
Older,
I don't know. No. I like him, but that's
When Rosie, he can be a little inconsistent at times, but when he shows up and wants to play serious golf, he's a serious threat every set. I love Rosie. Who doesn't like Rosie? I judge your character if you didn't. Yeah, I judge somebody if they're like, I don't like that Justin Rose guy. What are you talking about? All right, I'll round out my team here. I'm going to take, even though there's still some concerns with his health, he's shaking it off. Like, he's in the mix. He's having a really positive start to his year. I can't say no, even if he's at 80% the way he's playing right now. I can't say no to Colin Morikawa, another one of my favorites. I like Colin Morikawa. And here's another guy that everybody keeps talking about, the talents there. Can he dial it in? Can he finally figure it out? I'm going to take, I feel bad saying a flyer with this guy because he is a very talented golfer. It's just, can he put a whole package together and win a tournament? I think eventually he will, and I'd love to have him on my team when he does it. I'm going to take Min Woo Lee. All right.
That's a good pick.
That's a good pick. It's a guy I usually pick. He's usually my guy, but that's fine.
Oh, my guy. Yeah. There it is. Doig, round your team out.
Round my team out. Okay, I got 3 guys I got my eye on here.
There's a lot of good players left, man.
There's a lot of still good players. Event. It really is. And I don't think has anybody picked a LIV or an ex-LIV player yet tonight.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
No, you got John Rahm, you got Bryson DeChambeau, you got Brooks Koepka there, you got
Patty Reed.
Patty Reed. I mean, honestly, I looked at it. Tyrrell Hatton. There's some pretty good golfers right in there. I just have a gut instinct that Brooks Koepka is going to have a good week.
He was on my list.
Of those guys, he's the guy that's most capable of having a good week, and good weeks for him tend to be dominant weeks.
That's
so,
right.
Brooks,
he likes majors. There's something about him in majors. He likes playing in majors.
He loves a major, dude. Loves it.
He usually only plays in majors. That's why.
Generally, yeah. That might change soon. I almost took Temper Tantrum Tyrrell. I love Tyrrell Hatton. I think he's great for the game, but I just couldn't quite talk myself into it. But maybe Clarkey will. Clarkey, round out your team. You got one more pick here.
One more pick.
Yeah.
Well, I'm debating. My guy Jake Knapp is always on my list, but I'm not sure about Jake Knapp this time. So it's down to 2.
Corey Connors.
No. In fact, I think the top Canadian actually might be Taylor Pendrith.
Taylor? I was thinking
Pendrith.
Taylor Pendrith. Wow,
yeah.
okay.
But I'm not going with him either.
Okay.
I'm picking a guy who has a little bit of history, though, in Canada.
Okay. Yeah.
Bobby, call me Robert McIntyre.
Bobby McIntyre. I like Bobby Mac. Another guy that's just universally loved.
I like him. It was him or JJ Spawn. And I'm going to say that name, and I'm thinking I'll jinx it because he'll probably win the tournament. He always plays well in majors, too.
You know what? The problem with are you confirmed with McIntyre? As your
Robert McIntyre.
Bobby
Mac? Right. The golf course doesn't set up for a left-handed player very well. So
we stick together, Doigie, so screw off us lefties. Okay.
There's that research.
You can't see it doesn't set up Clarkey. Either way. I don't agree with that. I heard Barry Davis tell us that about the Raptors back in the 90s every time. Oh, they just don't match up well against this team. No, because they suck. Bobby Mack is my final pick. My top 3 guys will win it for me. So my 4th pick is just like, a little flyer, little dark horse.
I'm scared for Rory, and he's busy doing podcasts.
It's okay. You gotta. I don't know. You have to. I don't know. In my mind, you got to pick him first.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Yep.
He's too dynamic. He's too dynamic.
Let's just hope we all make it to the weekend this time.
And if you listen to his interviews in the last couple of days,
Petchnian wins.
Yeah. The big thing from last year after he won the Masters the first time. He said that it took him months before he even kind of started to get refocused on golf and that. Whereas this year, he said, 10 days later, he had shut it all down and was ready to go. And he's never come out and said this, but my belief is that the one thing that would separate him, now that he's won all 4, that would separate him from all of the rest, the greatest of the game ever, would be to win all 4 majors in 1 year. And so I think he comes in here really focused really focused on winning this one.
You got it.
That little run going.
Good point. And Doigy, you have some news. You had a good little run in Michigan. Tell us about that and what you're qualifying for here.
Hey.
Okay, yeah. So it's been, unfortunately, it's been 8 long years since I got to play in my last major, which was the U.S. Senior Open at the Broadmoor in Colorado. And they've now gone to a 2-stage qualifying system. And I was in Muskegon, Michigan on May 4th. Crazy tough conditions, about 11 degrees and the wind blowing 40 miles an hour. The ball was just absolutely going sideways on a 40-yard pitch shot. You had to play 15 yards of movement. Greens were small, they were hard, they were fast, and it was a difficult day, but I happened to manage to get myself around in 3 over par 75 and finished 5th in a field of about 85 guys, and they took the top 11. 5 over was in a playoff, but I got through, and it was really interesting. Out of the 11 guys that got through, 4 of them were Canadians. So I'm on my way to Dayton, Ohio at Miami Valley Golf Club for June 1st. About 82 guys, roughly 7 spots probably. And if I can get one of those 7 spots in the 18-hole tournament, I'll be playing in the U.S. Open and Senior Open again. So yeah, pretty excited about it.
Yes.
And when is that?
Golf claps for Doigy.
June 1st.
Golf claps for Doigy. June 1st. We'll be tracking that. Yeah.
Well, and I'm expecting if I get into that tournament, it's in Columbus, Ohio this year at Scioto Golf Club, which is where Jack Nicklaus
we're going
grew up. So I would expect you guys to come down. We can do the show from down there one day.
Passes?
Oh yeah, I'll get you tickets, no problem.
I'll caddy the first day, and Ryan will caddy the next day.
Yeah, no, I've already got my caddy all hooked up.
Okay, fine.
I love it, brother. That's fantastic. And if you and when you make the tournament, we will be coming down. That's a road trip.
That's a drive. That's a drive in the canyon.
100%, brother. We'll do it. Really quick, Doigy, before we wrap up and let you go, what do you make of all this stuff with LIV now? Like, we've been talking about this since it was instituted, and it looks like it's on its last breath here. Like, the PIF pulled out of it, the People's Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia. Like, they don't have the Crown Prince funding this anymore. Like, how the hell are they going to pay all these guys that still have contracts? And, like, John Rahm's, got a new deal with the European tour. Like, guys are... What's going to become of this? Like, because ultimately, what did they really achieve here other than having guys blare music and play in shorts?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I said right off the bat when it all started, I was a fan of the concept of it, mostly because from my perspective, what it did is it made the PGA Tour wake up a little bit and come into this time frame to start paying the guys better and playing for more money. And as a rookie, like when I started and I played my first event on the PGA Tour so many years ago, 42 years ago now, but if you missed the cut, you didn't get paid. And that went on right up until LIV came along. And so, but now when you make the cuts, you get paid and stuff. And if you're a rookie and you play 15 tournaments a year, you're guaranteed $500,000, which should cover your expenses. So some of the really good things that came out of LIV, I still really like, and I'm happy about those. Where they're going to go from here, I think they're going to fold. It's going to just disappear. The biggest thing that's coming forward now is what does the PGA Tour do with all these players that are now going to be looking for a place to play? I know there are fines and there's all that stuff that's going on in the works, but in my opinion, the PGA Tour needs to have these guys come back and play. I mean, if the tour in the world, they need to have the best players in the world playing on it. So, you know what, open your doors back up, maybe give them a small fine or whatever, but allow them to come back. Let's put Bryson DeChambeau playing in, 15 tournaments a year. Let's have Patrick Reed, as much as I dislike him, playing 15 or 20.
Yeah, let's have Vladdy.
Yeah, bring
Patty's
those guys
going to win
back
this weekend. I'm telling you, I should have picked him.
Yeah, you know what? That would not surprise me one bit.
He's a good golfer. Like, he's a really good
very
golfer.
He is. He's really good with his foot wedge.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just cheat and read. Like, he'll never shake that. He will never ever shake that.
No.
Like, he could win the next 10 tournaments in a row, and people, like, there will be a large segment of the golf world, particularly his peers, that like will not celebrate that, unfortunately. And I think that there is probably still some animosity toward all the LIV guys, some more than others. He'd be one in particular that would be a little more on the animosity side. Bryson, for sure.
Right.
He rubs people the wrong way.
I
don't know, man.
I don't think they'll ever let Phil Mickelson come back to the PGA Tour or the Championship.
I don't think they should. I don't think they need. I don't think they should.
I mentioned to Ryan off air a little bit, Clarkey. We were talking about it, and I kind of laughed because Greg Norman was behind a lot of this when it all started, and he's now gone. And ever since he's left, it's kind of gone downhill a little bit for them, and now they're pulling the funding and everything. And I kind of look back a little bit, and I think, you know what? Maybe Greg Norman accomplished exactly what he was after. He was still pissed off at the PGA Tour for kind of running him loose years and years and years ago with his idea that, that he had come forward with a better concept for the tour and everything, and the PGA Tour basically pushed him aside, said no, and then went ahead and did it with the World Championships events. And I think Greg Norman just had a burr up his ass to get back at the PGA Tour. And let's not kid ourselves, financially he did that because it forced the PGA Tour to spend a lot more money on how they run their tournaments and how much they pay out.
Yeah, if nothing else, LIV has definitely made guys more money, no doubt.
100%.
Either there or at the PGA.
No.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and so you got to kind of look at it and go, maybe he accomplished exactly what he was after, right?
Yep.
Yep,
for sure.
In a roundabout way, the great white shark, he got in the waters and he made some waves. Okay, they might not have been waves that everybody necessarily wanted or agreed with, but he certainly did that, and the tour is certainly benefiting from that. And I think ultimately, as these guys all start to come back, which will happen, the fans will benefit from it too, which is what we all wanted anyway. All right, Doigie, we really appreciate this, brother. And again, congrats on making it halfway through the qualifying, and we're going to be paying very close attention to what you're up to on June the 1st, brother. We'll see you in Ohio. Okay.
Don't screw it up.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, boys. We'll talk to you later. Cheers.
All right, everybody. Remember, you can follow us on social media at Instigating Pod. Find the podcast on all your favorite apps, including YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify. You can watch the show on Rogers, YouTube. Find us all over the place. We really appreciate everybody listening and tuning in and sharing all the reels. Much appreciated. We're getting thousands of plays, Clarkey. We're getting bigger. Okay?
Thousands and
it's
thousands.
People liked the show last
billions.
week. Let me tell you what, billions. All right. We'll see everybody next week here on Instigating with Clarkey and Drury.